Welcome to this edition of Living Well, making the most of your senior years. I'm Terry Troyer, and I'm here at the historic St. Mary's Episcopal Church in Abingdon, surrounded not only by history, but by the beauty of this Gothic Revival-style church. As we mark Harford County's 250th birthday this year, we're celebrating our deep and rich history, and this church is part of it. St. Mary's Church was founded in 1848 by the Reverend Dr. William Brand, and the current church building was erected in 1851. These magnificent stained glass windows were designed by English architect William Butterfield, and they're the only complete set of Butterfield windows in America. In 1973, this church was listed on the National Register of Historic Places for its architecture and decorative arts. In order to uncover and preserve history, we often tap into the memories and recollections of our family and friends. So we asked Maryland author D.A. Jennings to give us some tips on how to write a memoir. So grab your pen or your laptop and begin the process of documenting your history.
Robert Frost wrote the poem, The Road Not Taken. The implication is that we have choices in life. What road did you choose? Is it worth writing about? Do you want to tell others about your experience? If so, perhaps you would like to write a memoir. Let me give you some examples of Harford Countyans who have written memoirs. The first one I would like to discuss with you is The Color of Law, written by A. Dwight Pettit. He was a student back in the early 50s and 60s in Aberdeen, and he understood discrimination. He was a great athlete. People loved him on that element, but as far as everything else, he was excluded. It was about his family's struggle to have him get recognized within his own community for the things that he was capable of doing. It's a great story because in so many ways our society is still struggling with these issues. One other example of a good Harford County memoir may be someone that you know, but you don't know you know. Pat Adelhart and her husband ran Applewood Farms. They had worked there for years, and many of you have probably gone there with their children. If so, when you met Pat, you would never know that she struggled with depression. Her story is about the secrets that were involved in her family, the questions about why things happened, the fighting within the family. And she deals with that as she talks about writing for the CIA, while she talks about the struggles on a farm and what she had to do, and working through her problems until now, as a grown adult woman, she has conquered her problems, but is still aware that they can creep back. She wrote to share her experiences with you. Another example of a Harford Countyan writing her memoir is Gayleen Ray Miles. She wrote Tragedy on the Susquehanna, 1968. She deals with many topics in her book, the main one being a close friend who died early in life, and how her own struggles with dyslexia, family fighting, internal struggles all came to play in how she dealt with this tragedy. One other memoir that I would like to mention to you was written collectively from a group from Avondale Senior Living Community. The topic was World War II. They had their residents contribute stories, not only what the soldiers experienced out on the field, but also what family members experienced here on the home front during that period of time in our history. What resulted was a great booklet that captures the essence of the toll of war on everybody. But it was not without humor and fun stories, but they also included photographs and mementos that mean so much to the reader. Whether you were living during World War II or came after, it is a sobering, enlightening, and delightful experience to read that book. As we begin this journey together about talking about writing your memoir, there's a couple of things that you want to keep in mind. First of all is the cost. Does it cost? Of course it does. But depending on how frugal you are, you can make it minimal and you can publish at a relatively low cost. My recommendation is before you start writing, Commit yourself to putting money aside every month to pay for the publication. The next thing you may want to consider is how much time do I have to write? You have to be committed. Recommending you treat this like a job. Set the time of the day, set the days of the week, and stick to it. And most importantly, as you're writing, think about the impact on the relationships of the people that you love and know. How do they feel about you writing this book and revealing family secrets? How do they think they saw something? It's just like at an accident. All witnesses see things differently. So it is important that you talk with them, get their version of the events. If you are going to be writing a very complicated story that includes many, many people, I would like to suggest that you prepare a graph. Down the left side of your graph, you would have the names of all the people that you are going to be including in your book. At the top, across, you would want to include the dates. Now, it could be by year or by month or by day, depending on the details that you're planning on putting in. Why is that important? I'll tell you why. Because you keep in mind how old everybody is at the time of the date that you are writing about. And that way your facts stay more on target. There are many ways to approach it. Some might prefer just the old outline structure. If you're not a real visual person, where you just write the topic and then the points underneath it. But whatever style works for you, choose it. But don't be afraid to mix styles. Don't be afraid to change it after the fact. Because just like you evolved in life, the way you tell your story will evolve also. You have written the last word, you have put your last period, and you're ready to publish. No, you're not. What you need to do is go back and take a break. Step away from your story for at least 6 weeks. Let it simmer. Because what you have down on paper may not be really what you thought you had. Because remember, people who are reading your story know nothing about you for the most part. So you let it simmer. When you come back, you look at your story again, as if you're reading somebody else's story. What needs to be changed? What needs to be rearranged? Does it make sense? Are all your characters where they need to be? Are you telling their story as well? But remember, the main focus is on you and how you are interpreting the things that are happening to you. And remember, writing can change the world. Will your writing change it for the better? Will it make it more hopeful? You decide.
Lots of our memories and family stories are shared in the kitchen. It's a great place to nourish ourselves and make some memories that will last generations. Let's get some expert advice on how to make some kitchen memories with your grandkids from Chef Ellie Doyle.
One of my favorite things to do is to cook with my grandchildren. And what I like to do is always find nutritious foods to make with them, things that they like and you will too. So we're going to do 2 different things today. We're going to make a veggie pasta that's easy, quick, and we're going to be making granola bars that are no bake, very easy. The kids will love them and so will you. To make our veggie pasta, I start with 2 cups of all-purpose flour. I have 2 smaller beets that I baked ahead of time and then cut them up so they'll be a little bit easier to blend, and we're going to add 2 eggs to that. So I'm going to put all the eggs and the beets into a blender, blend those up, and then they will be poured into the flour. We'll mix it up and get started on our pasta. So our 2 eggs need to go in first, so there's liquid at the bottom. And then we're going to put our beets. We're going to blend those up until they're completely blended before they go into the flour. All right, that looks good. I'm gonna check, and I think we've done a good job. Okay, as you can see, I put a well in the middle just so the liquid will stay in a little bit better before we start mixing. Pour that right in the center. Get every bit of that out. And then we're just going to blend this. I will knead it, but I really want to get the flour and the beet juice blended well before I put it on the cutting board. I'm going to take a little bit of our flour. This will help it not stick. Sprinkle that on. And then put our dough right in. We're going to knead this for a couple of minutes. And then when we're finished, we'll put plastic wrap around it and let it rest for about 30 minutes. This is the part the children all really like doing. Once you've let this rest for about 30 minutes, we're going to unwrap it, cut a little bit off, and then start to roll out into our noodles. Before I do that though, I want to make sure I put a little flour on the board so it's not going to stick. Even if there's flour on your pasta, when it's finished and drying, it'll go away once it's cooked in the water. Okay. All right, I'm going to put a little bit of flour on the pasta also. And again, you don't need any special tools with this. Anybody that you have certainly probably a rolling pin, so that's about all you need. We're going to roll this as thick as we can at the beginning, and then I want to roll it down as thin as possible. And adding, I feel like it's sticking on the rolling pin a little bit, I add a little flour to that. But I really want to try and get this as thin as possible now. I'm going to cut just this much off. And if you want to make noodles, all you have to do is fold this. Okay, you roll that up, and then you're just going to make as thick as you want or as thin as you want. You're going to cut the noodles like this. And then you want to open them up. And you see you have them, and we're going to lay them. I took a piece of parchment paper, put a little bit of corn flour on it. And we're going to lay these. You don't want them to touch it first because they could start sticking together. And they're going to lay out here to dry. See how simple that is? Another thing my grandchildren love to do are shape pastas. So once we've cut our pasta into a square, you take your thumb and your first finger, and you're going to go right in the center, and you're going to pinch the two sides together, and then kind of squeeze at the end, and you've made the shape of the bow ties. Once your pasta is on the board, you want to let it sit for about 15 to 20 minutes to dry before you want to cook it in boiling water. Once you are putting it in boiling water, it only takes about 3 to 4 minutes because fresh pasta is much quicker to cook than your store-bought kind. Our next recipe we're going to make that'll be fun to make with your grandchildren are no-bake granola bars. The ingredients are all measured out. We're going to put the dry ingredients in first and then add some of the wet ingredients. What we have in front are Rice Krispies. We're going to add those in. We have old-fashioned rolled oats. We have pumpkin seeds, chocolate chips. I use the mini ones, and some graham cracker crumbs. And then we want to add about a ½ teaspoon of kosher salt. Now, before we mix in our wet ingredients, we want to mix this up well so everything's combined. And then we're going to combine our wet ingredients. And there are only 3 that you have to melt and cook for about 2 minutes on the stove, 6 tablespoons of butter, and then we have about 2/3 cup of honey and a little bit of brown sugar, about 1/2 cup. So that's already been mixed and ready to go. Cool down a little bit too. That's going to go in our bowl. And then we'll mix everything up together before we press it in the pan. I lined the bottom of the pan with, it's an 8-inch size pan with parchment paper. That helps keep it not to stick in the pan, and this is a non-stick pan also. If you use glass, I probably would put a little bit of spray like Pam on the sides. And we're just going to pour that in. And then I'm going to press down, want to get everything off the spoon, press it down, and try to get it as even in the pan as possible. Very simple, no bake, and healthy. See how easy that is? And they'll love it, and you will too. It's always so much fun to spend time in the kitchen with the grandchildren. So I hope you try some of these recipes, and it's also so much fun to spend time with them. Maybe you have some family recipes that you want to show them that they can carry on for many, many years to come. I hope you enjoyed it.
Become a part of history as Harford County celebrates its 250th anniversary. Plans are underway for a full year of fun, education, and nostalgia to honor our past and build our legacy for the future. But we need you to make Harford 250 a success. There are many ways for everyone to get involved. Become a sponsor, donate, volunteer, or host an event. Join us today at harford250.org for more information.
Welcome back to Living Well, making the most of your senior years. Recording our history and documenting the changes in our environment are done in so many ways, through personal stories, official records and documents, and even photographs. The unique beauty of wintertime is something we often overlook, but Harford County photographer Jennifer Schaefer says, don't let the chilly weather prevent you from capturing the beauty of the season.
For me, one of the best times to get outdoors with my camera is during the winter time. Hi, I'm Jennifer Schaefer, a local photographer in Harford County, Maryland, and today I would love to talk to you about the wonders of winter and how to capture them through your camera lens. One of the best times to go out and use your camera during the winter time is the blue hour, which is usually the first 30 minutes before sunrise. And especially if there is snow on the ground, you're gonna have great colors that you capture that bounce off the snow in the sky and into your lens. Along with blue hour, my actual favorite time to shoot is sunset. And I believe that March has the best sunsets that I have personally seen in my years of shooting. Black and white photography is a great way to capture the beauty of the season, especially when there's snow on the ground, and if you're unable to shoot in the early morning or late afternoon, when the afternoon sun is at the highest in the sky, you can use the snow, if it's available, as your highlights of your shot and any images in the scene as shadows. A lot of people that use photography as either a hobby or a profession get very excited when there is a snowfall in the area. We do like to try and capture those snowflakes during a snowfall and to capture the landscape photography after a snowfall before the snow has been touched by people. One of the things that you want to remember when shooting outdoors in the cold is to prepare your equipment accordingly. You want to make sure that you have a waterproof camera bag, that you have your extra batteries because the cold does drain camera batteries quicker than hot days. What I like to do when I'm out shooting in the wintertime is I like to prepare my camera settings, if possible, in the car before I actually leave my vehicle, to reduce the amount of time that I'm going to spend outdoors in the cold or extreme temperatures. You also want to wear many layers as possible that are thin that you can reduce if need be. There's special tech gloves that you can purchase that will allow you to use your camera settings while keeping your hands warm. You want to make sure that you're wearing waterproof boots or shoes. And you definitely want to have a camera strap on your body, so in case you do unfortunately slip and fall, that your camera is hopefully protected. One of the best ways to get out and get inspired during the winter season is to just have a walk around your area, walk around your neighborhood or through your local parks, or take a drive around those windy roads that are filled with trees. You'll never know what you'll find until you have a look around. If you are looking for inspiration and resources for your photography journey, then I suggest checking out your local art gallery, like the Harford Artist. We are located in the Bel Air Armory Marketplace behind the Bel Air Armory in Bel Air, Maryland. Don't let the winter weather deter you from getting out there and using that camera. Just go out there and shoot the beauty of the season.
If your memory-making plans include travel, we've got some tips for you in that department too.
For many people, retirement is an opportunity to travel. My name is Pam Kennedy, and I'm here to give you some travel tips about how to get the most out of your travel trip, near or far. Travel has changed a lot recently due to the internet, COVID restrictions, and lifestyle changes. Using these resources such as AARP, AAA, these are great online resources that you can go to help you navigate your next travel trip. There are many different styles and ways to travel. Some of them could include solo travel, groups, small groups, large groups, activities that will be planned for you, something historical. You might want to make sure that you know what activity level you would like to do. Is it a high activity level, medium, or low? Would you like someone to plan for you where you're going to go throughout your trip? All your transportation, your meals, and your activities can all be planned for you if that's what you would like to do. Another important consideration is what kind of travel do you want to do? Do you want to travel internationally or locally? If you're traveling internationally, it would be very important for you to book with an organization that will take care of all your needs in one stop. Your transportation, your vaccinations, and all of your planning. They would help you plan what type of activities you would like to do and how to best get there safely. Some of the important safety considerations that you want to make sure that you've covered are your liabilities, your travel insurance, some of your own personal health needs. Know if you are going to need medications or any other vaccinations before you travel, and make sure that you're going to have all of those covered for all of your needs from beginning to end. As you know, with life, sometimes things are unexpected. When you're traveling, you might come upon a roadblock or an unexpected event, such as traveling plans may change. You might have a flight delay. You might get sick. How can you get help when you're traveling? One tip is to have a partner with you when you're traveling, a friend, a family member, or just another person that is trusted to you. Making sure that you have your travel insurance up to date and you're working with that trusted organization to make sure they have plans on what to do and how to help you when something might go a little off track. It's important prior to your trip to do a little study and learn about where you are traveling to. Learn the history, learn the culture. What are the things that you're going to experience when you go to another country or another state? Don't we all feel that it's important to learn and appreciate and respect other cultures throughout the world? When you're traveling, you're learning and educating yourself about the dress, the customs, the traditions, and the environment that other people live in. And we need to be respectful and understand how we can broaden our life and our experiences through travel. We are fortunate right in Harford County to have the resources that you may need for your travel and education. At travel.harford.edu, Harford Community College Community Education Department provides you opportunities to come, not as a student, but as a community member, to get these travel opportunities. There's no cost to you other than the ticket and the opportunity of a lifetime.
My favorite thing to enjoy in Harford County, Maryland, the baseball.
The tradition.
The fine dining.
The craft beverages. The parks.
The trails.
The boating.
The history.
The landmarks.
The sports.
The scenery. The shopping.
The farms.
The waterfront. The events.
Harford County, Maryland. Something for everyone.
As we celebrate Harford County's 250th birthday, I hope you'll take the time to explore the rich and diverse history of this area, and also explore your own family and community history, stories, and traditions. History is all around us, ready to inform us, strengthen us, and help us create the history of our time. Until next time, I'm Terry Troyer.